Round 8 fantasy trades. We are here. It's less than 4 hours away now until game 1. Super excited for that. The Wires, they get up against the Titans, so make sure you get your teams sorted out. And my potential trades this week, there was a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of merry-go-round, and I ended up locking in my first trade of the week, and that dictated what I was doing with the other. And Trey Fuller is coming in. So as I'm sure if you guys are watching the videos over the last few days that I've been pretty high on him and just been trying to do some more information on the exemption situation with the Dolphins. And it looks like, from what Ben Teo was saying, it was a lot of high praise for Fuller. He's Queensland Cup coach. He was the Queensland Cup Player of the Year last year. So there's lots of raps on him. Very surprising he wasn't able to nab a top 30 contract as yet. But they've been given an exemption, and he said that he'll be able to cover Hammer for the next 4 weeks while he was out. So that's that news. I haven't got anything concrete on it, to be honest with you. So I still think there's a bit of a risk that once they get their injured players back, that he could potentially be out of the side in that period of time. Sure. My thing there is that they've got Tessie New, who's hasn't been playing great football at the moment. Herbie Farnworth to come back either next week or the week after or something like that. He's copped it pretty bad along with Flegler. So if they're to come back, does the exemption stop? It doesn't seem like it. It sounds like the Dolphins have been given help until round 11. So from round 11 onwards, anyone outside of a top 30 squad, the train and trials and the like, can play first grade. So what I'm looking at with Fuller, guys, is obviously some really good scoring. He's a 50-plus average guy in Q Cup. We saw it on the weekend. We saw it in his game last year in 47 minutes. He picked up a great score there as well. And he's going to play, if this is the way that they want to go for it, and they're very happy with how he plays, and it sounds like Captain Jesse Bromwich, from what I'm reading, is really happy with his play. He's going to put in the effort. He's got that really good speed, and he pops up at the right time. So if he's happy with him, then he's going to play round 13, 16, and 19. And yes, he might miss some around that when Hammer's back, but that's really big news. And that's the risk I'm going to take. I think it sets up and helps my wing fullback over that time, which is something I really want. And over the next few weeks, obviously until Hammer comes back, if it is 3 weeks and then he misses a few weeks, we could get really good scores, 40 plus there, and make some money. So that's my hope with Fuller. There's definitely a big risk attached to it. And I don't suggest all of you go out and do it. Some people will, and that's fine. But don't come back at me afterwards if it doesn't work out, right? If it works for a couple of weeks, then he's out of the side and it doesn't sound like he's going to play round 13, 16, 19. We'll have to trade him out. And that'll be frustrating. So don't come back at me if it doesn't work out, because it is a very highly risky play, but something for me that if it does pay off, it's going to save me a lot of trades, which is something I've used a lot of. If it doesn't, I'll just be in the same situation I'm at, where he's scored a couple of good scores, made some money, and we have to trade him out, which is frustrating. So that's the first one. I locked that in, Fogarty to Fuller, to give me some cash to play with. I then got rid of my other red dot in Blaze Talangi, just to really set ourselves up. As I said, I'm setting myself up for the buys now. I'm not looking at purchasing any Origin players at this point. So my next one, I was looking at getting a mid. It seemed like the situation at the moment, it's mids and edges where all the kind of, you want to buy the players. And it was Jolliffe or it was Samuela Fainu. And Fainu allowed me about 230 odd K, 237, I think. In the bank, 240, something like that, to potentially make some upgrades next week, right? We have my issues in the Eels situation with Lussick and also Gutherson. Next week have the bye, so I can obviously make that decision following their bye or next week. And if I don't get Fainu this week, that was what I've jumped on and decided on is Jolliffe to come in. I just think he's very, very safe right now. And at 60 odd minutes, 64 and 67 the last 2 weeks, if, in games where the Titans go, whoever they play against, it's a super high scoring game. Like last week, he was still able to get 50 in that matchup with 64 points in it. So there'll be games where he does score a try like he did a few weeks ago as well, which is very helpful. So I think he's very safe. I think he can average 50 and has 70K available for him to make. I don't really need a round 13 mid right now. So in that scenario, I get him for round 14, round 16. He misses 17. He's the only player I have on a buy in 17, and then he plays 19 and 20. So that's really cool news. And by that stage there, all of their buys are done. So my thoughts with him, guys, overall is the fact that he's 634k. If he gets 65 minutes, I think he's an over 50s player. If he gets 60 minutes, I still think he's over 50s. If he gets 55 minutes, he's about a 50 player, in my opinion. And that's pretty close to being a keeper in our mids, obviously, there. You know, if he's a consistent 50 guy, you're probably not trading him out, right, across the season. So my thought is I can get someone a little bit underpriced who could potentially be a keeper, right? And at worst, he doesn't play Origin. He covers 2 of the 3 major buys, plays around 14, which is tough for me as well. So that's what I'm looking at with that trade in. If I learn anything more about Fuller over the next bunch of hours, or the next few days, obviously until they play or until I have to make that trade, the Talangi to Fuller trade, then that's where we're going to end up, right? Which is cool. So I've made Fogarty to Jolla first because that's the locked in one, and I have to do that to get the money available to go Talangi up to Fuller. So make sure you do that with your trades first, guys, so that you can reverse if something happens, if there's injuries. Fogarty to Jolliffe. Jolliffe plays the first game. Cool. That one works. And then the second one, either don't make it yet, or you can make it and you'll be able to reverse that pretty comfortably due to the situation that pops up. And you'll have the money available to do so. So Jolliffe I feel is very safe. Fainu, I could take a punt on him, and that would be making 2 trades with 2 punts being made. And last week it really worked out for me. The hunch worked out. Right now my hunch is telling me to go Jolliffe and be a little bit safer, so I'm going to go with that. Fainu, I think, is a little bit riskier, right? We're not sure on his role coming into this week. Does he play 55 on the edge and maybe hits a 40, and that's great. Does he hit a 45? Does he do anything better than that? But my thoughts with him is we can wait an extra week on him. He has a fairly high break even. Nothing crazy where he's going to make sort of 30, 40, 50k. Whereas Jolliffe, if he gets another 50 odd and scores really well, he'll get another 30k, 25k there up, and is the safer one. Whereas Fainu, we can buy him next week at, let's just say it is 450, and he covers mid and edge as well, if we wanted to go that way, right? So that's what I'm thinking about with that one. I think we can wait and watch it a week. Right now we know Jolliffe's role. Yes, he's more expensive, but Fainu I could grab next week. The thoughts on getting him were around the fact that it gives me 240k in the bank to make some moves next week. And if it works out, he's going to be great. Only missing round 13, dual position. He's going to be awesome. So if you're looking at Fainu, I still think he's a terrific buy. He was the 3rd player that I'm not going to make a 3rd trade on this week. Guys, that's my general thoughts. I've got enough good players this week to get a strong 17, looping Lussick this week. He's in my emergency 5. They play the 4th game of the week. If he doesn't work out, then I'll play Levi. Obviously, like if he gets to 20 or something, I'll play Levi. If he gets over 30, I'll stick with him for sure. But he's the one I'm going to loop heading into round 8 there. I didn't get Cleary this week. I've got Hines, so I'm very happy with that. I think you need to have at least one, but don't blow up your team for it. Like if you can easily get to one of them, sweet. If you can't, I wouldn't be trading out guys like Cotter or Grant or Terrell May, these type of guys. I wouldn't be doing that to get Hines or Cleary. If you have the Pongers, Fogartys, these types of guys that you can easily get up to one and trade a mid-ranger down, then that's cool as well. Someone also I wanted to focus on, guys, is Daniel Atkinson. I think he's a pretty good punt this week if you want to go for him. Wing fullback, he's another one I could have gone for down here in the wing fullbacks, and then I could have gone up instead of Jolliffe. I could have gone to Tohu Harris or someone like that. Right up top, I think could probably be where I'd be at. Tohu or AFB would be where I'd go in the mid position for this week. So that's an option as well. I do think he's the best one to have a crack at. It's him. It's Weeks, I think, with the wing fullback and half dual is cool as well. Probably won't score super well. Atkinson, I think we're going to get like a 32 average out of him, which a 239 or whatever it is. Slightly higher break even after playing 10 minutes, in an earlier game, but he's the guy you can probably take a punt on. You can also do it next week as well. We're unsure at the moment because Trindle's court date is set for May 17th, which is obviously 3 or 4 weeks away. 3 weeks, 17th, 3.5 weeks away. So he stood down from training and everything. So he's not training with the team. And if he's going to be, not with the team until at least May 17, when that court date comes out, the only thing I'm a little bit worried about is that if you were to go on him, is that they're doing a second test at the moment as to what the substance was and all that kind of stuff. So I think they were going to find that out in the next few days, and that's probably why you could wait on Atkinson. But if you want to take the punt, he's probably the best one to go for, because, if he's away from the team training, surely he doesn't come straight back into the side, and Atkinson plays 13-14. If he keeps his spot and if he can do well, I think he can keep it. So that's the interesting one at that really cheap price. I'd go him over Armstrong every day of the week. Gray is an interesting one as well. So he's only half. If you need a half, that's cool in that one there. So yeah, a few interesting decisions going around at the moment. Obviously, Blore, you've got a good option there, but I've got him. Plath, obviously another one at 569. Bateman, I think Blore just over Bateman, but I'm going to discuss that in the head-to-head side coming up, because that's the decision I had to make in that one. But overall, very happy to have Piakura back. Cut the dead wood. I've got Hughes, Salmon, Karaz on the bye. Everyone else is playing. And Levi might be an interesting one. If Lussick sucks this week and Levi still hits like a 30, he could be a guy I just hold until and use him as my round 13 player and then trade him from there. So that's an interesting one with Levi. If we're not looking to play him on a weekly basis, especially with Hughes, Salmon, and Karaz back next week, then he could be a guy that just sits there as a green dot and gets us a 30 or something like that, or maybe a sneaky try in round 13. So that's my thoughts around my team, guys. Let me know where you're at with yours in the comments, and I'll try to reply or like as many as I can. So thanks for that, guys. On to the head-to-head team now. So we've also made 2 trades here. Obviously, not great on overall rank standpoint at the moment, but it is a head-to-head team, so it doesn't matter too much. But the big dog, Cleary, comes in. Super excited about that one. I had Fogs and Ponga, and they're the 2 trades that I'm making in this team. And the second option for the trade was either Blore or Bateman. And I decided to just go for Blore this week. A lower break even than Bateman. We can watch it for a week, that situation with him and Fainu. And Blore, I think it's going to do really well in base, like we're seeing here with the 56. And then some games he'll score tries and maybe go above that. Some games his base might be a little bit lower, but that'll be offset by other games where he scores tries or sets something up or something like that. And I think the Storm are going to blow up over the next few weeks. That's my opinion. So they're the 2 trade-ins. And that leaves me a little bit more in the bank, 63K. For a trade in following weeks. And Brandon Smith, I'm excited for him this week. I think he'll get some good minutes. It looks like Connor Watson's moved into 13. Siwa Wong moves onto the bench if anyone needed a green dot and still has him. That's a fun one. Egan Butcher's on the bench as well, so I wonder who Wong's going to come on for. I think Egan will probably play through the middle, and unsure if Watson will go 50 odd minutes, and maybe Nat moves to the middle to allow some time for Wong, and maybe Egan Butcher just comes through the middle with Nafahu White and Terrell. So I'm excited for, I think, Brandon and Terrell. It helps them both out, losing an 80-minute 13, that's for sure. Crichton, Kaipius Paul, Toll Harris, I'm going to go Vice this week. I'm bringing in Cleary, so I've got to captain him. No other way about it. If he doesn't play, then we're obviously a bit cooked on that front, but he'll be back next week at worst. And Tohu will be a very serviceable Vice if that was the case. But yeah, so excited about having Cleary. Got to have him in one of the teams for sure, because if he goes nuts, I'll be a very sad man. Especially enjoy watching the Panthers play. And if I'm not on Cleary, which I basically always have Cleary in my overall team, that would be very sad. But yeah, very happy with Hines and the situation that has unfolded with him. That he should be able to do really, really well. So I think having one of them, as I said, is a good idea. I'm using the center loop, guys. So Blaze Talangi is sitting in my starting team right now. I've got Moses Sully in the 6th position, guys. So having no other center above him means that if if Sully does well, they play in the 2nd game today, I would leave this as is, right? And I would get Sully's points there, okay? And if I wanted to play Strange anyway, okay, I could put Strange up to Chan, and Chan would just go below, and I wouldn't play him. But that's a little safety loop for Sully there, because if he doesn't go well, I can just bring Strange above into emergency 5, and that's the good thing there, guys, is you put them in 6, because 5 there you could then move Strange up to 5, and that would mean you would get all of everyone above's points, Chan as well, even off the bench. So if Sully goes like 20, I think I'll play Chan. And I would get Chan, Galvin, Blore, Pikura, and then Strange up in 5. Or I could just move Strange straight to the starting spot in centres. So it's an easy way to get Sully as a looper. And if he plays well, I could then muck around with Strange and Chan and the like there. So just pops it in there. It's a very safe, easy one. Rather than playing him straight up, you can loop him and get a bit safer with that position there. So wing fullbacks there with Pat, Turbo, Drinky. I think Drinky's going to be well purchased next week after their Panthers clash, and I suggest him as a good buy, or Chester, really good buy as well for overall coaches next week. That's for sure. And even for head-to-head, Drinkwater's great too because he misses only 16 and 19. So that's good news on that front. Strange are happy to play. Obviously, nice signing Turbo this week. They have a nice matchup with Para. And what's the differences? Yeah, Brown against Manly. Hopefully he can get another 50 plus. He got 70 the week before, so anything up near there would be cool. Happy owning Tohu. Happy to bring Blore in. Loading up in both teams with Blory, so excited by that. And held Pikura in both teams actually, so that worked out. But yeah, Talangi's the only real issue right now. Only having Hughes and Salmon this week allows me to keep Talangi and not use an extra trade, and that's cool. We'll sort Talangi out next week if we need to. If one of the cheapies goes really well, we'll jump into that, and if not, then we'll find a way to get him up to someone over the next few weeks, especially. So keep working on our cash generation. Blory, obviously mid-range, could go to keeper status. Happy with that. Cleary in there as our captain. Super excited by that. Good luck, guys. 3.5 hours away from the first game of round 8. I'm super excited for it. A big day of footy, and I hope you enjoy your Anzac Day.